All right, so before we start, I want to go over what's going to happen on Tuesday. On Tuesday, you guys are having your first test of the second semester, okay? But this test is not going to be a cumulative test. Now, you guys notice that I'm really beating into you guys 2D arrays, correct? I just really want you guys to make sure that you have it down. So what your exam on Tuesday is going to be is it's only going to be on two-dimensional arrays. Okay, we don't have anybody, and nobody in this class gets extended time. So your test is only, it's going to be on ProProfs as usual, but excuse me, your test is only going to be 30 minutes. Okay, it's 5 multiple choice questions and 1 free response. Okay, the multiple choice questions, now I'm up in the ante a little bit so that you guys can slow down. The multiple choice are going to be worth 2 points each. Okay, but you have 5 of them. All right, and then the free response is going to be a standard free response, just testing your knowledge of code. 30 minutes. If you finish early, you can leave. Okay, now for you guys, it's the last period of the day, so there's no reason for you guys to worry about coming in early, leaving late, or anything like that. It should be able to easily happen. Now, Monday night, I will also be doing a review session. Okay, so Monday I will be doing a review. And again, this is more free response heavy this semester. So as soon as I'm done grading your test as well, you're going to get the report back on your test as well. Okay. Does anybody have any questions regarding the exam before we move into the homework? Anybody? Kennedy. Go ahead, Kennedy.
Is there any places that we can find more free response practice?
For free response practice, this one I would start coding bat. Okay, for coding bat, start working with the arrays. Okay, in the intermediate portions, I would start working with those. Okay, coding bat is going to be your best bet for free response for those types of questions. Okay, I would also say Albert.io. They have some good ones. Honestly, if I were you, I mean, I would just, as a class, share the password. If you guys all want to chip in and somebody buys it, and then you guys just share the password or whatever, then that's another resource. I'm not a big fan of AP Classroom. I think it's got some good multiple choice questions, but when I review the questions on AP Classroom, they're really easy. Wouldn't you guys agree? They're a lot easier than, I mean, they're really like, they're confidence boosters unnecessarily. So, all right. Okay, so that being said, let's go over the homework. Now, first of all, just take attendance real quick. Sorry, guys. Ugh, I hate having to do this. Absent, 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 and absent. Okay, all right. Perfect. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. Okay, now Eclipse and all right. Okay, you guys should be able to see both my screens, correct? Can you guys see the Acrobat reader?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, perfect. So the key thing that we needed to look through here is, okay, we're looking specifically at question A. Now, how many of you felt the homework assignment that I gave you guys a couple of days ago helped out with this question? Okay. All right. So if we take a look, oh, sorry. All right, we take a look at question 4, et cetera, et cetera. So basically what they're doing is you're encrypting something. Now let's take a look at what we have. So private string letter block, private int num rows, private int num calls. Okay, an instantiated set by the constructor, et cetera, okay? Now, so giving you guys a heads up. So Kennedy asked this, right? So Kennedy, I hope this is okay to ask. It is actually a decent question because I brought it up in the last class. So Kennedy emailed asking me if it was safe to assume that in the constructor, and tell me if I'm wrong when I'm saying this, Kennedy, if it's safe to assume that letter block is set to equals new letter block num rows num calls. Is that right? Is that what? So
yeah.
So basically what the parameter would probably do for this class, the constructor would accept 2 variables and it would initialize the array with those 2 variables. Okay. that is a safe assumption, okay? And it's gonna lead to the answer that probably I'm thinking that you did, Kennedy, okay? All right, so that being said, so what the first thing I need to do is, so if I go to part A, so this must be filled in row major order. The first row is filled from left to right, and the second row is filled from left to right, and so on until all the rows are filled. You fill it in, and if there's any less, basically substitute it with an A. Otherwise, just keep going until you're done, okay? So what we do first is we're going to say int lets, okay? Or I'll just say int out equals 0, okay? Because we're gonna need an index tracker, okay? This is basically an index tracker. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say for int r equals 0, okay? Now, this is where, and anybody tell me if I'm wrong, you could have done this two ways. R is less than num rows, okay? You could have done it this way. How many of you did it this way? Okay, you could have done it this way, but based on what Kennedy asked, theoretically, you could have done this as well. How many of you did it this way? Good. Either way is right. So Kennedy, hopefully that answers your question. It was a safe assumption that you would get the same answer using length or num rows. Okay?
I had a question. If you use num rows or num columns, I used this dot because I wasn't sure if there were any other
It's perfectly legal. It's perfectly legal because it's a global variable.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, a lot of programmers use it by default. It's just a force valid. Okay. So this is legal. Either way is legal, guys. So when I'm grading your homework, either one's fine. All right. So num rows.length, but hopefully that answers your question, Kennedy. Okay. So r++. Okay. Int c equals 0. C is less than letter block what? Index 0. Bingo. Dot length. Okay. C++. Then, excuse me. I'm having errors, obviously, guys, because I'm just doing this in a standard class, so screw it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is this.
You forgot the 4.
Huh? Oops, thank you. There we go. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say if L is less than, now what am I comparing this to?
The string length?
The string that is passed in as a parameter, which would be str. So we're going to say L is less than str.length. Now, two ways we could have done this. Now, I've told you guys with the AP, stick to substring. What else could I have done?
Char.
Very good, char. Okay. Letter block, index R, index C equals str.substring L to L plus 1. Okay, now let me actually go over this really quickly, guys. So I was the grader for this question in 2011. This was, I think, my first year that I graded. This was the question that I had to grade. Common thing that I would see that they would be confused is num rows and num calls. Okay, they obviously remember that doesn't mean anything. That means just that single row and that single column is only going to be set. Everything else will stay at 0. Okay, so just be, have faith in your basics. Okay, else letter block R C equals A. Okay, now I am missing something.
Your incrementation
Where?
in the if and the else.
Or just outside of it.
Really? Who said and the else?
I did.
Why would I need in the else? I'm all out of letters here. Why would I need to increment that anymore?
I guess.
Just here. When I get to here, that means I've got L basically as being a substring tracker. If I still have 15 more spaces, what would need to be the point of incrementing that? It's extraneous code. It wouldn't get you a penalty, but what's the point of it?
Is it extraneous code if you put L++ outside of your entire if else statement, just inside?
It's not extra. No, but it's still like, the best place to put it would be in your if, because that's the only applicable place. Okay. The else, if at some point you do get to the else, you don't care about L anymore because you ran out of letters, right? L is basically there to be a substring or basically to be an index tracker and to be that variable that we use with substring. That's it. Okay, that is all it is. When we get to there, when we get to else, at that point, we don't need it anymore. All right, now it's void. Do I need a return?
No.
Okay, very good. Guys, this was 3.5 points. How many of you thought this was pretty easy? Okay. All right, did anybody do it a different way? No? Okay, good. All right, any questions on this? How many of you feel like, I know I'm beating a dead horse, guys, but remember I told you, like, I want you to get to the point where it's just boring. Like, okay, another 2D array. How many of you feel like your foundation in this is getting a little bit better? Okay, Leo, you good? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, though, is I am going to put you guys in groups, and you guys are going to work. See this? So this is where the tough part of not being in the classroom is, because what I would do is I'd have you guys work on part B for 10 minutes, and then I'd have you guys go up to the board and write your answers. That's the tough part. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to break you guys into groups. Okay, and you guys. The one thing that I was happy about last group, finally, they started talking with each other. You guys do a good job of actually trying to word it out. I want you writing this down. Okay? I want you writing this out by hand. All right? And I'm going to put you guys in breakout rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Okay, breakout rooms. I'm going to create 5, and I'm going to assign manually. Okay? All right, so. Okay, and I want you guys working together. I'm going to be dropping in on rooms. Okay, I'm giving you guys 10 minutes. All right, I want you guys working through it. Okay, but before we do that, let's just take a look at part B. Okay, so let's analyze it together as a class. Okay, so write the method encrypt message that encrypts the string parameter message. So if I take a look at my signature right here, I am accepting a parameter, okay, a string parameter called message. The method builds an encrypted version of message by repeatedly calling fill block. Hey, okay, fill block, you're calling it. Read that. What that means is in your message somewhere, you're going to need to use fill block, okay? Then, okay, by repeatedly calling fill blocks with consecutive non-overlapping substrings of message. Okay, what does that basically mean? Is just like you're doing one letter at a time. Okay, hint, one letter at a time. Fill block accepts a string, hint substring. Okay, so and concatenating the results returned by a call to encrypt block. So key thing that you have to understand is you are creating a new message, which means you're going to create a new string. I'm going to have to call on fill block, and I'm going to have to call on encrypt block. Okay. And then, so I go up encrypt block. Okay. It extracts encrypted string from letter block in column major order. So basically what we're doing every single time. So you're going one letter at a time. You're filling in, you're basically encrypting it, putting the letter in the block. And when you call on encrypt block, you're constantly overwriting the string every single time. So let's say the word is hello. I write H goes into the fill block, and then I append it to the string. HE, appended to the string. So it's constantly being appended, okay? All right, so, okay, does that make sense? So if you guys see this, meet A, so this is meet at, or meet A. Meet A, so the encrypted block would be MTEA. The concatenated string, MTEA. It's doing one letter at a time, all right? So that being said, then what's it? The following example shows, et cetera, et cetera. So you're returning a string, okay? So note that if message is the empty string, encrypt returns an empty string. Okay. All right. So rooms are going to be this. By the way, you just giving you guys a heads up, you don't need an else for this equation. Okay. You can go through and cycle through it, and if it's empty, it's just going to by default return empty. You only need one return for this question. Okay, we're going to put Isis. I'm going to put you with Ashton. Okay, Isis, your foundation is pretty solid in this. You did have some trouble with the snaking issues. Okay, but Ashton, I really want you to take the lead on this one and try to help it out. Ask any questions. Okay. Because I think that'll be a good group right there. Let's go with Ali and Benny. Okay, I think that'll be a good group. Both of you guys are about the same level, which is really good. Let's go Kennedy and Armand. You two are also about the same. You guys are pretty strong as well. I think that should be a good group as well. Okay. Let's go Ben Tokes and his boy Leo. and let's go Nick Azizian. You're going to be with Vasily. You guys are, I would say Vasily's a little bit stronger, Nick, but you guys are about the same level. So you guys should definitely be able to work with each other. Okay. So 10 minutes, guys. So talk it out. I'm going to be going through room, just kind of hearing and stuff like that. What's going on? Okay. Not expecting an answer today, but kind of pseudo coded out what you should be doing. Okay. Especially for those of you, this is the time to ask questions. I've tried to group you up with either leveled or stronger students. Okay. All right. Good luck. Hey, Siri, set timer for 10 minutes.
Okay. 10 minutes is counting.
confused.
I'm very confused.
So we're putting in the message into fill block, and then we're spitting out like column rows going up and down, and then
Yeah. But the problem is, how are you supposed to?
It runs even if there's an empty. It has to be smaller than the amount of elements. So how would we do that? Like,
That's why I
you know
was
what I mean?
saying. That's why I was saying if you could call upon letter block, would you say if message.length is
Well, you guys also remember, so you guys have num rows. So remember, before this
Okay.
method is done, let's say that this class is created, you're given num rows and num calls.
Oh, so why don't we just make them
So if
rows
it's
times
less than-
columns?
if
There you
it's
go. You
if
can
it's
use
less
those. Don't
than-
forget that you can use those methods, okay? Or those variables.
if it's less than,
Num
This-
rows times num
Num
calls.
num
That'll
calls.
give you
and then you return encrypt block.
Yeah.
bingo.
There we go.
Good job, guys.
I think what we would have to do is we don't need to reinitialize it. We
Mhm.
need
Never do that.
what?
Never reinitialize anything that's given to you.
What we need to do, I think, is I think I would know how to do this. Just find the total number of elements in the array.
would you do
So
that?
what?
How would you do that? You're given two things by
You would
default.
multiply num rows and num columns.
Bingo. So you got that. And you can always test to see if it's return. Now, theoretically, can you do this with multiple returns? Yes, right off the bat. You can
Yeah.
say if
Yeah.
string is equal to null or if message equal to null, return this. And
Yeah.
then you could just say if and then run another if or an else if or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So theoretically, you could do it that way. And then
Okay.
based on the length of the size of the columns.
Yeah.
Then return encrypt block.
Then return this method.
But you'd have to run fill block first.
Yeah, we have the null string. We have if it's 0, then just return null, and then we put message into fill block.
Good.
And now I think all we have to do is if the message
close.
length.
You're getting close. I'd say right now this one is worth 5.5 points, and you're at about 3 points right now. Okay, so you guys are doing good. All right, I got to jump into other rooms, guys. Otherwise, it would stay. I'm sorry about that. I'm rushing through all the rooms.
You're good.
That's
next
it.
statement.
Well, like if the message length is equal to 0, then it just returns the empty string.
Yes, that's right, Isis. That is AP thinking. So theoretically, could we have multiple ifs?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. So that's the way that's going to work. Do it that way. Okay.
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 Okay, that's good. So that's one part of it. So that alone would get you 2 or 1.5. Believe it or not, just on this one. Literally, if you were just like, okay, it's null. If it's null, I can just return it. Boom. That right there gets you a 1.5. So right now, so that means out of this point, you got the majority of the points on this question. You're at 5 out of 9. Get the other 4. How are we doing, Ashton? Everything good?
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused on the fill block part when you call upon the method.
So you just have to run it.
Once though, right? No, but it says you're supposed to run it. more than
You
once.
could repeatedly calling it. Theoretically, you could call it once if you. Now, here's the thing that you have to realize is you have another method. There's 2 ways that you could do it. You could do it just using letter block, or you could use it doing fill block and encrypt block. But you'll notice that you have an encrypt message in there also that just does everything for you. They put that in there to see the smart, like to see who would figure that out.
Oh. Okay.
Just in mind, Okay, but basically, yeah. I mean, I would do it like in a for loop. The
Yeah.
only downside with me, like the way that I would do it in a for loop is like you're constantly just overriding. You're always appending something. Okay, I gotta get to another room, guys. Good job though.
All right. Thank you. So you don't have to do it, man.
What do you do? with
So
the
how would
closing
you-
thing? I'm not sure.
How we doing, guys?
Struggling a little bit, but we're going. We're getting through. Just trying to figure out. Figure out the logistics of calling upon fill block and getting because the way that it adds to the encryption is
Okay.
kind of like column major.
Okay.
So just trying to figure out how we can get that result back.
Well, you don't necessarily need to worry about the column major. You got to remember that you have methods that do that for you. Okay.
Already?
Time's up.
Wow.
I know. You guys are working well. Everybody's working well, though. All right. So far, guys, I saw some really good teamwork. You guys were really working well together. Okay. So kudos to you. All right. So what we're going to do, this is going to be homework, and I'm going to have it due Sunday night. Okay. So to give you guys, so you guys can enjoy your weekend a little bit. Okay. I'm going to make this due Sunday night. Be ready. We're going to go over this first thing Sunday, and we're going to just do a review of any questions for 2D arrays on Monday. Again, I will have a review session Monday night, and your exam is Tuesday. Okay. But for the most part, some of you guys got it. There's like at least, believe it or not, there's like 6 different ways that you can write this, that you can, finish this up. So good job, guys. Again, I will have this due Sunday night. And then if anybody else has any questions, anybody?
We're just going to scan this into the portal, I'm assuming, right?
I would, take a picture and upload it. Yeah, I would want you guys to take a picture and upload your work. And I'm going to put those instructions in the portal, but I want this one handwritten. Okay. But again, the key thing, guys, is I want to see your progress. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it right. Okay. I want to see your progress. So if you want to continue working on it with your partner, you're more than welcome to. Okay. But it's due Sunday, and we'll go from there. Okay. And like I said, there's multiple ways that you can do part B. All right, guys, great job. I will see you guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.